Welcome to Backbreaking News episode 157. Today we're watching Backbreaking News episode 18.
Backbreaking News episode 18. Today I'll be talking about...
Wait a minute, I'll be right back. Gonna turn off the air conditioner so we can...
About what is best TV show currently out. If I was to suggest one you could get what for... let me rephrase that. If there is a show I say you could watch right now, I'm a history buff, so I would give you history shows you should watch.
Did I say chip or did I say chip, ship, show? Because I didn't hear one word I said.
And that are very interesting. But I say the major one I think you should watch is American Papers. They go around houses.
If you didn't know, the guy who used to be on there, Frank, recently died. That's pretty sad. But on other news, it's still good, but not as good as it used to be with the two of them.
Finding stuff you might think is junk that are actually worth a lot of money. If you're not into that type of stuff, I understand, but it's just overall an interesting experience, and I think you should watch it. In my personal opinion, the next best thing, if you don't like that, is Pawn Stars. It's basically people working at a pawn shop, and you have to,
Yeah, Pawn Stars is good. Apparently they're doing Pawn Star Goes America where they travel now. I haven't really watched much of it, so I can't add that because I don't know what it's like.
People come in with the things they want to sell. And you see their interactions, and then they call people in to see how much it's worth and stuff, and then pretty much it's just like they buy it or they say no, and then the people get the money. My nose was itchy. Anyway,
You didn't have to say that.
the next thing is, if you don't like Pawn Stars, you will probably like Storage Wars. It's not a history.
Storage Wars could be about history, but it's not. Main focus is not about history, so yeah.
Show, but it's like you buy storage units. It's pretty interesting. They buy stuff and then they have a profit. It's kind of like, and then they see how stuff is worth sometimes, and sometimes they don't. Another thing is, if you don't like that show, you should watch American Facts versus Fiction, because it's a very interesting show. I'm just going to say that right now. It's a very interesting show.
That is an interesting show. I can no longer watch it because our cable doesn't have the station that it was on, but I could watch it, it was pretty good.
Fact is that American first signed the Declaration of Independence on July 2nd. So our Independence Day should actually be July 2nd. But we actually got our independence on July 4th. What we signed our independence, I got to answer back around that time, I think. And then it goes back to the whole stories, like stuff you never really thought you would want to know.
I mean, if you're a history buff, I think you would like this. If you're just an average person, I think there's some enjoyment with this. If you're just an average mill person who doesn't really like history but still wants to learn some new facts, it's a good thing. It's not just for like people who like history. And then you could have a fun party facts.
Get very interested and get so invested in it when it comes on, and it comes on not often, that you have to watch. You get so invested you have to watch it. Another show is, if you don't like that one, another show I think you would like is Dark Side of the Ring. I watched it.
Dark Side of the Ring is basically talking about dark stories that you know, like Chris Benoit's death, Owen Hart's tragic death, and the events leading up to it, and so much more. So you learn a lot about wrestlers and other stuff in controversial moments. And I haven't kept up with it ever since, but you know, it is what it is.
2 seasons, those were good seasons. I have to tell you, those were very good episodes. They go to the past to talk about dark side of the wrestling ring, mostly, and I think people should watch it. It's an interesting show for adults and kids to watch. I wouldn't say watch your.
Well, no one under the age of at least 16 should be watching this. And it also depends what language. If you don't mind language that much, you're gonna find it. But if you don't like, it doesn't have a lot of swearing in it, but it occasionally can have, depending on the topic and stuff. So, you know, depending which one you're watching, some of it could be kid friendly, others parts can't.
Well, kid watch it, but yeah, I'm gonna say 13 years old, and adults are the main audience here, or older wrestling fans. But if you don't like those shows, then you could also go to one of the funniest shows I think I've watched in a while. I think it's funny, but you might not think of that. This one is for kids, Gumball. I think it's pretty funny, but I think that you should watch it not because it's very interesting, because for nostalgia reasons, like I do. The other episode is another show, TV show. I think people would really like, in my opinion, is one of my other favorite shows, The Incredible Dr. Cole. I watched it on Disney.
It's a show about a veterinarian who fixes animals, farm animals. You could learn a lot.
Plus, this is a veterinarian that does farm animals and pets. And it's very interesting to watch these people do these things.
It could also be very sad.
And not just that, it's like you have many different things, like there could be a horse, a pig, stuff like those, and to a dog, It's an interesting show, and I definitely suggest watching it if you have time. Another show I think most people like, in my opinion, would probably be SpongeBob. If you're an adult, I wouldn't say watch it because it's made for kids. But if you grow up watching it, I would say watch it for nostalgia reasons, and also watch it because you might find some new interesting shows that would someday become well watched. I like some of the episodes that get from the 11th season. I don't like all of them. Yes, some of them just don't make sense, but for all the seasons there, I can't expect them to always have good episodes because with the
True, and the main reason why people don't like SpongeBob now is because they don't like change. What was acceptable in the 2000s and 2010s is in the early 2010s is not acceptable in this current decade. So stuff for kids has to be a lot more toned down than it was in the 90s, 2000s, and early 2010s. Because parents cared more.
That long, you don't know how hard it is to actually make episodes. But another show I think you should watch is The Loud House. I think it's a good show. It teaches good morals, and this is the only really Nickelodeon shows that explains family in a good way, and family drama in a good way, and then they solve it. It's kind of like, I think you should watch it, and I hope there's more seasons in the future. But as of right now, I think the show is currently ended with a couple of seasons under its name. Oh, and it's starting to grow into more episodes like the Casa Grandes, which they don't use much anymore.
Yeah, they did like one season and then never did it again. They're like, it was a good idea in purpose, but in the hindsight, it was a terrible decision to make it.
The Casa Grandes only had like a season and a half. That one is also another good show that goes with the Loud House. I would watch it. It's an interesting family dynamic between all them. It's an interesting kiddie cartoon. I think it's something that adults should be.
The Loud House was something special because it's something that adults could watch and enjoy. It's kind of like Bluey, where it teaches real life morals that even adults could learn from. It's not just about the kids. The parents get involved sometimes. It's where the Casa Grandes was just random stuff happening for the purpose of random stuff happening. It was trying to be too much like the Loud House. Is the problem?
Be watching with your kids instead of it just, especially if they have siblings, but it's really like to have a big family, and it can sometimes be tough, but it's all worth it at the end, especially the Loud House that has more kids in it than adults. That's one of the ones I say definitely show kids who have more than. Another show I think is very interesting to watch is, I forgot the name of the show. Um, it's on Animal Planet, and it's um that it's called what is it? It's called Deadliest Man Eaters. It's something like that. That's not the name of the show. There's another line after that, but it's a show where they fish for sharks. They heard about and basses and
Basically, stuff that killed people. This guy went out and purposely tried to hunt these things just so he could prove they existed, putting his life in danger. It's really stupid, but it was interesting.
Animals that could be dangerous. No, I believe it's.
It was on like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Deadliest man eaters. I believe that's what it's called. It's about fish. And it's a very entertaining show to watch. I definitely think that for kids, Mickey Mouse Club.
Well, that's it. Goodbye.